There are some people in this world who carry the weight of everything on their shoulders, their family, their regrets, their responsibilities, and yet they still show up for others when it matters the most. Today's story is about one such man. His name is Kevin, and what he does in the middle of a raging wildfire will leave you speechless. Kevin works as a school bus driver. Every single day, he picks up children from their homes, drives them to school, and brings them back safely. It sounds like a simple job, but for Kevin, it is the only thing keeping him going. His father passed away years ago. His marriage to Linda fell apart, and after their divorce, their son Sean went to live with his mother because Kevin's financial situation simply could not support custody. This breaks Kevin every single day. He loves Sean deeply, but love alone does not pay the bills. So Kevin works overtime, pushing himself beyond his limits, hoping to somehow close the gap between where he is and where he wants to be. One evening, after putting in extra hours, Kevin approaches his boss Ruby and explains that his mother is unwell and his dog is in critical condition. The vet says the dog may not survive without treatment. He asks about payment for his overtime. Ruby listens, but her response is cold and practical. She tells him that most of the drivers are older men barely managing their households, and they will be paid first from the budget. If anything is left, Kevin will get his share. Otherwise, he will have to wait until next month. Kevin walks away without a word, but inside, he is crushed. He has no backup plan, no second source of income, just this one job and the people depending on him. That same evening, a radio broadcast warns that a powerful storm with strong winds is expected the following day. Everyone is urged to prepare in advance. Kevin drives home with this news weighing on his mind. But when he arrives, something unexpected is waiting for him. Sean is sitting inside the house. Kevin is caught off guard and asks him why he is not in school. Sean says he is not feeling well and came straight there. But Kevin, already stressed and exhausted, does not believe him. He assumes Sean is making excuses to skip school. He begins to lecture him, telling him that if he keeps avoiding school, he will end up wandering through life just like Kevin himself has. Sean, hurt by this, snaps back. He asks Kevin what kind of responsible man he was. This single comment tears through Kevin, and what began as a concern for his son quickly turns into a heated argument between them. After this painful exchange, Kevin takes his dog to the veterinarian. The doctor examines the dog carefully and then delivers the news Kevin feared the most. He tells Kevin that the dog's time is running out. He is only with Kevin for a few more days. Kevin stands there in silence, completely devastated. When Linda left, this dog was the only companion he had. The idea of losing him to feels unbearable. The next morning arrives, and with it comes something terrifying. The storm that was forecasted has brought fierce, howling winds across the entire region. Power lines begin to snap under the pressure of the gale. As they fall, sparks leap out and land on the dry grass below. The wind catches those sparks immediately and transforms them into something monstrous. Within minutes, a wildfire is born, and it does not stay small for long. It tears through fields, consumes trees, and swallows everything in its path. The fire moves through the jungle surrounding the town with frightening speed. What started as scattered sparks becomes an unstoppable wall of flame. And by the time anyone realizes how serious it is, the fire has already declared war on the entire region. Emergency services are flooded with alerts. The fire department sends every available team to the scene. Helicopters are scrambled, and dozens of firefighters converge on the area. But when they arrive and see what they are, dealing with, their confidence wavers. The fire is so intense, so fast-moving, and so widespread that their equipment feels almost useless against it. They quickly realize that their priority must shift. Instead of fighting the fire directly, they need to get people out alive. Meanwhile, Kevin has already started his morning route. He stops by the dispatch office, where Ruby reminds him to finish his rounds quickly because the mechanic is coming to service the bus. Kevin agrees and heads out. But while he is driving, regret is eating him alive. He keeps thinking about the argument with Sean. He feels terrible for shouting at him without giving him the benefit of the doubt. He sends Sean several messages, but there is no reply, which only deepens his worry. Then his bus runs low on fuel, so he pulls over to fill the tank. While he is doing this, his mother calls him in a panic. Her voice is shaking. She tells him that Sean is very sick. He is vomiting and needs medicine immediately. The moment Kevin hears this, his heart drops. He realizes that Sean was never lying. He was genuinely unwell that day, and Kevin had shouted at him anyway. Kevin makes a decision on the spot. He is going home first, no matter what Ruby says. He drives to a medical store, buys medicine for Sean, and turns the bus toward his house. Ruby, of course, is furious. She keeps trying to reach Kevin, demanding to know where he went and reminding him that the mechanic is waiting. Then Linda calls as well, and she is equally upset. She tells Kevin that he cannot even take care of Sean for one day, that she gave him custody responsibilities, and even when Sean came to him sick, Kevin responded by arguing with him. Kevin tries to explain himself, tells her he has been messaging Sean repeatedly and is on his way right now. But the call drops before he can finish. Then Ruby calls again and informs him that the mechanic has already left and that the cost of rescheduling will be deducted from Kevin's salary. Kevin is standing in the middle of all of this chaos. Financial pressure, a sick son, an angry boss, a worried ex-wife, a dying dog, a sick mother, and now a wildfire closing in on the town, and he has no idea which way to turn first. Then something comes over the radio that changes everything. A message goes out to all school bus drivers in the area. Parents are being redirected away from schools due to the emergency. All children are to be taken to Chico Depot instead, where parents will come to collect them. Every driver is ordered to head there immediately. Kevin's bus is empty at that moment, so he keeps moving toward his house. But at a school not far from there, a critical situation is developing. Most of the children had already been picked up by their parents, but 23 children remain at school, and their parents are already heading to Chico Depot expecting to find them there. The school does not have enough vehicles to transport all 23 children at once, and they desperately need a bus. The principal contacts Ruby directly and explains the situation. Ruby immediately broadcasts to all her drivers asking who is available. Every single driver is already occupied with children, except Kevin. He knows this. He also knows that if he takes these children, he cannot go home to Sean. He sits with the decision for just a moment. He could lie. He could say his bus is full and no one would know. But that is not who Kevin is. He gets on the radio and tells Ruby he is empty and ready. He says to send the children out because he is heading to the school right now. When Kevin arrives, a teacher named Mary helps load all 23 children onto the bus as quickly as possible. Once they are all seated, Mary begins to step off the bus to go back to her own home where her child is waiting alone. Kevin stops her and explains that he cannot handle 23 children by himself while also driving through an active emergency zone. He needs someone with him. He asks if anyone can come. Mary pauses. She knows that her child is home alone right now and needs her, but she also looks at those 23 frightened faces on the bus. She makes a quiet decision. She gets back on the bus without saying a word about her own child. Because she knows that if Kevin finds out, he will insist she go home and try to manage everything by himself, and that would put everyone at greater risk. So Mary carries her worry silently, and together they pull out of the school parking lot with 23 children counting on them. The road ahead is unlike anything either of them has ever driven through. Traffic has completely lot up. Thousands of people are trying to flee the area simultaneously. The fire department has commandeered an entire lane of the road, leaving everyone else squeezed into one direction. It is gridlock in every sense of the word. At this rate, it will take hours to reach the depot. Kevin looks at the map in his head and makes a call. He turns the bus onto a different route, a road that most drivers would not consider, because it is a risk. But staying in this traffic is a guaranteed disaster. Back at dispatch, Ruby is dealing with her own emergency. She has just received word that Chico Depot has been completely overtaken by the fire. There is nothing left there. All the parents have been rerouted to Paradise Town, a safer location further away. She immediately tries to reach Kevin on the radio to tell him not to go to the depot. But the fire has already damaged the radio towers in that area, and her signal cannot reach him. She tries his phone next, but the cell towers are down as well. There is absolutely no way to warn him. Ruby is helpless, watching the situation unfold with no ability to intervene. Kevin drives on toward the depot, completely unaware. When he finally arrives, he is met with a sight that stops him cold. The entire depot is gone. Buildings, structures, signs, all of it consumed by fire. There are no parents here. There are no people here. There is nothing. Kevin and Mary stare at the destruction round them while the children in the seats behind them begin to cry. They want their parents. They are scared and exhausted, and the smoke is making it harder and harder to breathe. There is no radio signal. There are no phone calls going through. There is no one coming to help them. Whatever decision is made next, Kevin has to make it alone. He steadies himself and turns to Mary. He tells her that Paradise Town is their only remaining option. The fire has not reached there yet, and that is where everyone has most likely been taken. It is their last hope, and they have to take it. Mary agrees. Kevin turns the bus around and heads for a Paradise Town. But the road to Paradise Town runs through the mountains, and it is a narrow, winding, single-lane path carved along the edge of cliffs and deep ravines. One wrong turn, one moment of lost focus, and the bus goes straight over the side. The smoke from the fire above makes visibility nearly impossible. Kevin grips the wheel and drives as carefully as he can, inch by inch through the mountain road, while the children sit quietly behind him, too frightened to speak, tears running silently down their faces. Then they reach a point where the road ahead is completely blocked by fire. There is a wall of flames stretching across the entire path in front of them. Kevin brings the bus to a stop. He tells Mary they cannot go forward. The bus will catch fire if they try. Mary responds by asking what the alternative is, just sitting there and waiting to die. She says they should go back. Kevin shakes his head and explains that the road they came from has almost certainly burned by now as well. Going back means driving directly into the fire they escaped. Going forward looks impossible. Stopping is a slow death. There is no good option. Kevin does not panic. Instead, he takes action with what he has. He tears strips from his shirt and soaks them in the water they managed to get from an abandoned shop earlier, an incident where Mary had bravely entered the smoke-filled store alone and nearly had the water snatched from her at gunpoint by desperate strangers before making it back to the bus. Kevin fashions crude masks from the wet fabric and gives one to every child, telling them to hold it over their mouths and noses. The wet cloth will act as a basic filter, giving them slightly cleaner air to breathe. It is not much, but it is something. While they wait for a sign, any sign, Kevin and Mary speak to each other honestly for the first time. Mary admits she is not worried about herself. She is worried about the children on this bus, and about her own child sitting somewhere out there not knowing where she is or if she is coming back. Kevin tells her something he has never said out loud before. He tells her that when he was young, he had a terrible fight with his father and left home in anger. He did not return for 28 years. When he finally went back, it was too late. His father was already gone. He says that his son Sean is somewhere out there right now, and he may never get the chance to tell him how much he loves him. The two of them sit in silence for a moment as the fire creeps close on both sides. Then Kevin makes a decision that defies every reasonable instinct. He decides that dying while trying is better than dying while waiting. He gets behind the wheel and turns the ignition. Nothing happens. The bus does not start. The lack of regular servicing, the same issue Ruby had been trying to fix that very morning, has now left them stranded in the middle of a burning road. The sparks from the surrounding fire are drifting toward the bus. Kevin is not a mechanic, but he crawls into the engine bay and starts working on whatever he can reach, doing what he can with no proper knowledge and no tools. Somehow, miraculously, the engine turns over. The bus comes alive. Kevin gets back into the driver's seat. He takes one long, deep breath. And then he drives straight into the fire. The bus plunges forward through the wall of flame. Burning pieces of wood fall from the trees above and crash onto the roof, shaking the entire vehicle. The heat is overwhelming. The visibility is zero. But Kevin holds the wheel steady and keeps moving. Because stopping now means death for every single person on that bus. The children are screaming. Mary is praying. Kevin is driving with everything he has. And then, on the other side of the fire, through the smoke and the ash and the chaos, sunlight, a clear road, Paradise Town ahead. The bus bursts through to the other side, still intact, still moving. With all 23 children still breathing inside, Kevin pulls into Paradise Town and brings the bus to a stop. The doors open, and one by one, 23 children pour out into the arms of their waiting parents. There is not a dry eye on that street. Parents are sobbing. Children are crying. And everyone who witnesses it understands that they are looking at a miracle made possible by one bus driver and one teacher who refused to give up. Mary, still shaking, looks up and sees her son being held by her sister who had brought him there earlier. She breaks down completely. Kevin watches it all from a distance, searching the crowd with his eyes. He is looking for his mother. He is looking for Sean. After a few tense minutes of scanning face after face, he finally spots his mother sitting quietly to the side. He rushes to her and asks about Sean. She tells him that after Kevin left that morning, Sean went to his mother's house, and a neighbor had driven her here. Sean is safe. He is with Linda. He is perfectly fine. Kevin stands there, surrounded by noise and relief and smoke-stained faces. And for the first time all day, he exhales. In the final moments of the story, Kevin returns to where his house once stood. There is nothing left. The fire took everything, every wall, every memory, every object he owned. He is standing in the ashes when Linda arrives with Sean. Sean had listened to every single voicemail Kevin had sent throughout the day. He had heard his father's voice filled with fear and love and desperation, and he finally understood something he had never fully understood before. He understood how deeply his father loved him. Sean does not say a word. He just runs to Kevin and wraps his arms round him. And Kevin holds his son in the middle of the ruins of his home, and it feels like he has everything. This story is based on real events. In 2018, a devastating wildfire tore through California and reduced over 13,500 homes to ash. 85 people lost their lives. And investigations revealed that the fire was caused by poorly maintained and substandard electrical wiring. Those responsible were prosecuted, fined, and ordered to compensate the victims. An entire community was destroyed in a matter of hours, but within that destruction, there were also stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things, and Kevin's story is one of them.